Hello guys, so இன்னைக்கு chapter வந்து lesson 9 SBEC chapter 9 startups and its registration. So you will be getting about 5 to 6 marks or even 8 marks from this chapter. So this is an important chapter. So yeah. So in this lesson we will be covering the topics from the book, and I will be sharing the important questions from this chapter in the second part of this video, or I will be uploading the videos at the same time or in a combined form. Okay, so jumping to the first topic, we are having startups. So what are startups? So they are designed to effectively develop and validate a scalable business model. Yeah, so the startups may have high rates of failure, but the minority of success includes companies that have become large and influential. So startups, it is an entrepreneurial venture which is typically an emerging, fast-growing business that aims to solve an unmet need by developing a viable business model around an innovative product, service, process, or a platform. A startup is usually a company designed to effectively develop and validate a scalable business model. So it is designed to effectively develop and validate a scalable business model. And next we have the term evolution. Evolution means it is the first, it is typically a startup which begins by building a first minimum viable product, which is MVP. So guys, you can like read the topics. If you should not like, it is not necessary to understand deeply in depth. You can like read the topics at a glance. Yeah. So evolution, you can read a shareholders agreement, which is SHA, is entered into between the founders and investors to confirm investment terms, rights, and investors exit clauses and any other important agreement terms. Business models for startups are generally found via a bottom-up or top-down approach. So business model. So we have this line in this para here. So this para we are having this line. So business models for startups are generally found via a bottom-up or top-down approach. A company may cease to be a startup as it passes various milestones, such as becoming publicly traded on the stock market in an initial public offering, which is IPO. So you can like read the startup landscape in India at a glance. And next we have the Startup India policy. What is meant by that? So the Startup India initiative announced by the Honorable President on 15th of August 2015. So it aims at fostering entrepreneurship and promoting innovation by creating an ecosystem that is conducive to growth of startup. And next we have this funding, support, and incentives. We have fund for funds, which is for providing fund support for startups. Government has created a fund for startups. So they have created a fund which gives rise to the startups, FFS, at Small Industries Development Bank of India, which is SIDBI, with a corpus of rupees 10,000 crore. The FFS is managed by Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, for which operational guidelines have been issued. Next we have the Startup India Seed Fund. Government has launched a Startup India Seed Fund worth rupees 1,000 crore to help startups and support ideas from aspiring entrepreneurs. And next we have the Credit Guarantee Fund for startups. Since debt funding for startups is perceived as high risk activity, a credit guarantee fund for startups is being set up with a budgetary corpus of rupees 500 crore per year over the next 4 years to provide credit guarantee cover to banks and lending institutions providing loans to startups. Once rolled out, the scheme in the lines of credit guarantee scheme for MSME. So the credit guarantee scheme is for the MSME is likely to provide a huge impetus for enabling flow of much needed credit to startups, which may run into several thousands of crores. Next we have the tax incentives. So tax incentives, we have the income tax exemption on profits under section 80 IAC and of Act Income Tax IT Act. So what does that mean? The Inter-Ministerial Board of Certification is a board set up by Department of Promotion. It is set up by the Department for Promotion of Industry and International Trade, which is DPIIT, which validates startups for granting tax related benefits. So this startup is for validating tax related benefits. What is the exemption? We have the department who set the exemption. It is set up by the DPIIT, Department for Promotion and Industry and Internal Trade. So a DPIIT recognized startup is eligible to apply to the Inter-Ministerial Board for a reduction of an amount equal to 100% of the profits and gains derived from an eligible business by an eligible startup for 3 consecutive assessment years out of 10 beginning from the year in which eligible startup is incorporated. Next we have the introduction of section 54EE in the Income Tax Act 1960. So exemption from tax on long-term capital gain. So what is a long-term capital gain? When you buy and sell properties over 1 year, it is known as long-term capital gain. If such long-term capital gain is invested in a fraud notified by central government, the maximum amount that can be invested is rupees 50 lakhs. Next we have the amendment in section 54GB of the Income Tax Act. So in this we have 2 points which are exemption from tax on capital gains arising out of sale of residential house or a residential plot of land if the amount of net consideration is invested in prescribed stake of equity shares of eligible startup for the utilizing the same for purchase of specified asset. So what are those? The condition. First one is the condition of minimum holding of 50% of share capital or voting rights in the startup relaxed to 25%. The period of extension of capital gains arising from for transfer of residential property for investment in startups has been extended up to 31st of March 2022. And amendment, fifth one we have the amendment in section 79 of Income Tax Act, which is startups can carry forward their losses on satisfaction of any one of the following 2 conditions. What are the conditions? We have continuity of 51% of shareholding or voting power, or continuity of 100% of original shareholder. And next we have the legal support and fast tracking payment examination at lower costs. A scheme for startups have made up, which is SIPP, Startups IPR Protection, for facilitating fast track filing of patents. So for filing patents in an instant way, we have a scheme known as Startups IPR Protection for facilitating fast track filing of payments, trademarks and design by startups has been introduced. So the scheme provides for expenditure examination of patents filed by the startups. So next we have the self-certification based compliance regime. This one you can like read it on a glance. You can read it at a glance. And next we have setting up incubators. So incubators are organizations set up with the specific goal of assisting entrepreneurs with building and launching their startups. Under Atal Innovation Mission, NITI Aayog will set up Atal Incubation Centers, AICs, in public and private sector. So under the mission, a grant in aid of rupees 10 crore would be provided to scale up an existing incubator for a maximum of 5 years to cover the capital and the operational costs in running the center. NITI Aayog has received 233 applications for providing scale-up support for established incubation centers. So nothing very important in this chapter. So next you can like read it everything. You can read it at a glance. And next we have the tax exemption. So this you can read it at a glance. Tax exemption under section 56 of Income Tax Act, you can read it. You can go through. Not very much important. And these points, no, you can like read it at a glance. And next we have state startup ranking. You rough read. Next we have exemptions for startups. You read here, like a rough read. Next we have benefits and exemptions. Read. Registration steps. Read. Not very much important. Next we have on page 230. So this thing in here is important. Founder equity split and vesting. So founder equity should be split amongst founders based on the nature of role played by each founder along with their time. Effect and capital contribution to the startup. Splitting founder equity equally by default without a thorough discussion on expectations and contribution generally leads to tension and unhappiness amongst founders teams as the startups matures. And founder shares should be always subject to vesting schedule. So founder shares should be always subject to vesting schedule, typically over a period of 3 to 4 years. This is important. Next, nothing is very much important in the other coming pages. So I think we are in the end of the chapter. Not very much important. So you can read it, the lesson roundup, and practice those test yourself questions. So in this next video, I will be discussing about, so you can enjoy my drawings. So we have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and in the next video I will be sharing the important questions from chapter 9 SBEC. Until then, take care. Bye.